Hello, chat. Hi, guys. How we doing tonight? Music down. Carkalicious is wonderful, and I have all the lyrics memorized. Hello, Zane. Hello, Ellipti. Hello, Arch. Hello, Sino. Duality. Lunar. Did I say Ellipti already? I think I did. Skitty. Hello, hello. It's lovely to see you all tonight. I've been drawing the Strider Bros, having a great time. That's awesome. Love to hear that. Almost forgot about stream today. I'm generally having a bad day. Aw, well, I hope stream can make you feel a little better, maybe. Just relax, have a little podcast kind of vibe. So we got a pretty, not a huge chapter, but a pretty standard average sized chapter. I had a pretty decent day, and by decent day I mean I did nothing except work on the anime opening project, even though I should have been working on other stuff. But sometimes you just gotta give yourself that. Late because the JRWI ep just ended. Let's just hope that the AU chapter goes better. Ruh-roh. It's so funny, I know so little about JRWI, I just see like fan art and stuff occasionally on my timeline. But you guys seem to be either always having a great time or always having a bad time. Sometimes both simultaneously, so... I'm currently working on a project that I forgot was due tomorrow, so I'm using this as a podcast while I work. Hell yeah. We'll probably jump into the summary soon. We'll wait maybe another minute or so, but... I've also been watching a lot of other live streams and stuff lately. Specifically because I watch I've talked about him before, but there's a live streamer named Joseph Anderson. He does these video essays on like video games, but he also plays games on Twitch, and I absolutely love his Twitch streams. He played Forspoken, which honestly is kind of not the greatest game, but he makes it funny by playing it and pointing out how bad it is at points. And I've been enjoying it deeply, just listening to it while I work. So I really like watching streams and playthroughs of games and stuff. Alright, let's hop into the summary. Alright, so not much happened. Well, not much happened. A lot happened yesterday. But main thing, important to note, we got the reveal that... Okay, bye, Arch. Yeah, you don't want to stick around for the summary, because big reveals time. Yesterday, oh my goodness, I'm a little bit sleepy, so if I'm a bit off today, I apologize. But yesterday we got the reveal that June is the trickster storm god that Rose had been researching, and that she knew Dirk before he became the devil. June essentially convinces Karkat, based on seeing some signs that Dirk was still possessing him. June's like, we gotta restart your heart. I can do it. Like, I think I can, right? I'm pretty sure I can. And Karkat is convinced that he has to do this for the sake of not getting anybody else hurt. And June's plan doesn't really work. And Solix has to like put his hand inside of Karkat and like manually like start his heart up, which is brutal as fuck, and kind of metal as hell. I watched a medical TV show once. Yeah. But Karkat does wake up, and Solux is, like, really fucking pissed. For good reason. Very, very fucking pissed at June, who had, like, specifically created a distraction to get Solux away because she knew that Solux, like, wouldn't have let Karkat agree to do it. I think both June and Solux, like, leave or, like, storm out. Maybe June's still there. Let me actually see real quick. Let me look at last chapter. I don't remember. I know I'm pretty sure Solux storms out. Yeah, June and Solux run out. Or leave. Yeah. And Karkat's left alone with Rose and Jade and Dave. And now they're all like, well, what the fuck is going on? And Karkat has to come up with answers. So that's where we left off. So now we are here, and it's time. So I'm going to make sure that the volume is okay, and we are going to get started. So this is chapter 32, Square Hammer. Adjust my mic, as usual. Alright. Okay, oops. And my pop filter's still on today. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Arrow keys. There we go. June is gone. You don't know where, why, or for how long. Solux has also fucked off, partly out of spite, which you suspect is because you didn't immediately side with his rage at June, but also because he was no doubt pretty upset at something life-threatening happening to you again. Because he's Solux and things can't ever be done for just one reason. You don't entirely get what his whole history with June is, but that fight seemed like a big deal for both of them, and though you agreed to the risk June had you take, you totally get why Solux is mad. The whole situation is a complete clusterfuck, and you don't know all the details, but somehow you've been stuck explaining shit to everyone. Okay, it's a little complicated. You start trying to buy time. You're bleeding, your shirt has blood on it. You must have opened your stab wound, Rose says, walking into your room. She takes hold of your shirt and lifts it up with the confidence of someone who knows you won't misinterpret her motives. When she's pulled it up completely, she stares in shock. There's a smear of blood on your chest, most likely transferred and stained into your shirt, but underneath it your skin is pristine, save for the symbol on your skin. How? What? Rose stammers in shock and looks up at you for answers. Maybe start at the beginning, and we could go out there and not all stand around your room, Dave suggests. You nod, happy for the short amount of time this buys for you to think of what you're going to say. At all. Consider the problem from this angle. What do you really want to say about yourself? You want to be honest with your friends, and in Dave's case, your boyfriend, but that's shit because he is also your friend regardless of the fact that you're dating, whatever. You want to be honest. You don't want to lie to them, so honesty. However, you also want to be respectful of your friends' lives. June didn't open the doorway on that fight. She had it in private because it's a private matter, so it would be wrong of you to immediately blab about it all. Not to mention, you just found out about June's species, that she's actually a god, but she's also chosen not to share that with anyone but Solux until now, so if she'd wanted to tell your friends, she would have, and she hasn't. On top of that, you know from the memory you gathered and what you know of the Storm God that Rose has been chasing down that June hasn't always been June, but has at times been John. Now, you don't know the details of that. Maybe her form changes, and that's normal for gods, or maybe it's just the same as changing gender from one binary option to another like it is for humans. Regardless of her exact situation, enough about it is clear that you do not want to tell people without her explicit consent. Even if June wasn't your friend, you're not going to out her. How do you balance that? Your friends are smart, and if you skirt too close to revealing everything, they're going to work it out, but you can't tell them nothing. Jade is remarkably perceptive, Rose knows your tells far too well, and Dave has a tendency to entirely remove your brain-to-mouth filter. This is dangerous territory. Rose nudges you into sitting on the sofa. She sits on the arm of the armchair and watches you like a hawk. Jade perches on the other side, or on the opposite arm of the sofa, and Dave sits next to you. You're entirely done when Beck rests his head on your knee. You have to deal with all of this and puppy eyes, or, well, Beck doesn't have eyes, but he can have the same effect somehow. Either way, you're done for. Let's do this shit chronologically rather than 1,000,001 questions, yeah? All linear and junk. You felt like crap. You felt crappy at the park. We came back here. Go from there, Dave suggests. Right. I felt hot and not great. You agree and quietly wonder if it wasn't you getting hot, but the air specifically around you getting hot, like a sticky monsoon air thanks to a storm god that will go unnamed right now. June dragged you off, Rose prompts. Right. She needed to talk to me. She said that she worked out that I was still possessed, but I was dormant, I guess, and living in my heart, which was why I wasn't really healing. Apparently, the sword thing tipped her off, you say slowly. But how did she know that? Jade asks. Talk now, questions after, Dave insists and then looks at you expectantly. Yes, let's hear him out first, Rose agrees, her eyes sharp. You're suddenly reminded of one summer when you were off from school and had nothing to do. Given that you had no friends to hang out with, you bought an old Nintendo DS from a secondhand store and got all the Phoenix Wright games pre-owned and then proceeded to binge them all the summer. The way Rose is looking at you makes you think of that, like she wants your whole statement in one so she can find all the contradictions in it and drag the truth out of you. She made it pretty clear that I was still possessed, and Solix agreed when he showed up later that if he got me back under his control again, that it wouldn't be so obvious this time. So June was right. She said that you might not know he was in control until he did something awful and unfixable. I mean, I'm horrified that he made me kill Solux, but at least that only lasted a few seconds, even though I still see it when I close my eyes sometimes, and I couldn't do that again. I couldn't let him think up worse things to do to everyone I care about and make me do it, you say, and your voice catches. Shit, Dave whispers in horror. June said that since he was hanging out in my heart, the best thing to do was basically turn it off and on again, like when your goddamn laptop freezes or something. But it makes sense, and as long as my heart is still okay and can get started, I'd be fine. And I am now. It worked, you tell them, and gesture to your throat and chest as proof. You are not a computer, and June isn't a doctor, Rose points out. Yeah, I did tell her that, but we were kind of desperate. She was pretty sure that Solux wouldn't agree to this whole thing, and who knows when he'd come back, you say. It's true, but you don't mention that she clearly pulled the stunt that got him away in the first place, because that raises questions. So she stopped my heart with magic. I woke up in heaven, and she was right. This bit of the of him came out of my chest. You skip everything you saw at that point. Only on the subject of June not being a doctor, I think she had trouble getting my heart going again, and Solux apparently showed up. You start. I summoned him to get to you, Dave explains. That makes sense. Well, he freaked out for understandable reasons and took over bringing me back to life, which he did, in fairness to him, you admit. How did he do that exactly? Jade asks. You pet Beck's head and don't look at anyone else. He stuck his hand in the hole in my chest up to the wrist and sort of physically made my heart. You one-handedly gesture at what you imagine someone trying to physically make a heart beat by squeezing it looks like. When you look up, Rose looks horrified, Jade seems startled, and Dave is creepily fascinated. He had a lot of choice words for June when I woke up, and after he stopped, you wave a hand at your chest. Extreme fisting you, Dave suggests. Rose flings a cushion at his face, saving you the trouble of doing it. Dave doesn't look sorry, and you're moving on from this. Anyway, after Solix carefully got his hand out of my apparently otherwise empty chest cavity, I have no idea how my body works anymore, seriously. After that, I healed up fully, and Solix and June started shouting at each other. I get why. June was right and potentially saved loads of lives by fixing me, not to mention getting me out of being horribly injured for who knows how long. And I think she was right that Solix wouldn't have agreed to let her fix me. But Solux was understandably pretty traumatized by everything that's gone on this entire academic year, and the fact that I'm a disaster magnet. Holy shit. June went behind his back, and he was pissed at that, and I was trying to calm everyone down, which probably didn't help either, because no doubt they both hate me now for not taking their sides, and I don't mean the good kind of hate either. Your voice is getting more and more distressed as you go on. Buck huffs out a doggy sigh and stands up, putting his paws on the sofa and leaning in to rest his weight on you, snuggling his head on your shoulder. You wrap your arms around his fluffy white body, and the weirdly tame hellhound that you've all just decided is perfectly fine to trust reaffirms that by licking your face to comfort you. Okay, that's a lot, but I'm sure that Solix is just overwhelmed and upset, and you two will be fine. And sometimes June just needs time to cool down. There's no way she's mad at you for anything, Dave assures you. And you don't need to worry about them being mad at each other forever either. We'll help them sort this out. It sounds like they both had good points, and everything worked out okay, so if we can get them to talk it through, I'm sure it'll be fine by the end. Jade agrees. How did June stop your heart? Rose asks, not leaping on the train of reassuring you. I don't know exactly. Magic? You shrug. You legitimately don't know if it was a god thing or something she learned here from a book or someone in Mindfang's class. You could have a sensible guess, but you don't know, so it's not a lie. It's close, though. Far closer than you would like. And why exactly did June think that you summoning that awful sword? Rose starts. Actually, that sword was cool as fuck and reminds me of my skateboard, Dave interrupts. Rose stares at him flatly. As I was saying, why would that awful sword make her think with such certainty that you were still possessed, and why would that convince you so thoroughly that you'd be willing to let her stop your heart through thus far unspecified magical means? Rose continues. Dave quietly protests with a hey, but it is soundly ignored. I don't know. I'd say ask her, but she's not here because she left thanks to her and Solux seriously falling out, you say. Not an answer. Actually, Dave has a point. That did look a lot like his cursed skateboard, which did kill an angel, Jade points out. Thanks for bringing that up again, Dave shudders. No, stupid. I mean, if Karkat summoned an item like that, which could kill an angel, it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that it's the same sort of thing. Either Karkat could have hurt himself with it, or the devil could possess him again, and kill Karkat when he was done with him. Pretty bad either way, Jade explains. You're not sure that tracks. You've seen an angel killing knife in action. That's why your maker is nothing but a burnt pile of ash from his paper now. But maybe they're not all like that. You also have ridden Dave's skateboard and not actually died before, no matter how you felt at the time. But you didn't take it to the chest, so who knows. It's still a reasonable cause for June to have been suspicious, so you'll gladly take that explanation. But you risked death on a hunch that insubstantial, Rose points out. Well, yeah, I don't want anything to happen to any of you, and if he'd come back, I know it would have. He'd seen Rose and Dave, and he had access to my memories. He could find June and Jade too, and I'd have to experience everything he made me do. It'd be a living nightmare for me, and you'd all die. Hopefully, quickly, but I don't have much hope. Who knows if you'd be able to stop me that time, and if you did, you might just have to kill me to stop the whole thing happening again, so fuck it. Just risk that up front for a chance to actually get him out. If June had fucked it up and Solix couldn't get me back, then I'd have lost a body. So I'd be stuck in heaven, which would be ironically a personal hell for me. They'd either throw me in a void for eternity, make me fall, or straight up kill me. There's a chance Signless could have got me back into a body from what I remember, so it might not have even been that. But even in the worst case scenario, where I actually completely die, that's just still me dead, and you're all fine. That's easily the best choice. You argue in a long stream of words. We wouldn't be fine, Dave says hoarsely. Do you really think that we would be? Rose demands, and you can see now her eyes are filled with tears that seem determined not to shed. You don't know what to say. You made a smart call here. Why do they all look so horrified? You're not expendable, Karkat. You're not... God damn it, you're not just some pawn for us that we'll throw out to save ourselves. It's not your job to do that for us. You're our friend, Jade says loudly. Oh, you say in a tiny voice. Rose seemingly gives up on her composure and throws herself at you, her arms tight around your neck as she hugs you, as if she was afraid that you might vanish if she doesn't hold on tight enough. Losing your memories is a weird thing to go through. You're still you. You're the same person you were in heaven, even when you remembered fuck all, and were just on your back in the dirt in Georgia. You were the same person, a person probably shaped by hundreds and hundreds of years of being something Cancri threw away, and used as a tool for an agenda that you didn't even like. You risked yourself to help people because it was better than not doing it, and even if you got caught, it'd still have been a net positive for the world. You're a throne. You were supposed to help humanity by preserving the world in an idyllic state. Your purpose was to serve, protect, and be a thing that did things. You're still that. You're not someone different, and you don't remember hardly any of the things that shaped you, but you're still the person that was shaped by all that. Your thoughts run in the same patterns. June says you need to risk your life to save people, and you sign right the fuck up because that's what you do. You're pretty sure you're still objectively right, but your judgment on that might be skewed still. Even so, the fact you were so ready to do that is seemingly concerning, judging by everyone else's reactions. Oh, that might be why Solux was so pissed. He knows you're like this. June must too, and she asked you anyway. Oh. Yeah, that might be it. Actually, fuck this whole introspection shit. You hate this. It feels bad. Can't you go back to failing to dodge hugely important secrets? That was way less stressful. Your friends seem concerned for you and drop this question right away. You spend a while together trying to unfuck your bedroom door, though whatever June did to keep the others out, thankfully no one asks about that, kept them out and didn't entirely protect the door from the others trying to get in. The wood is charred, dented, scratched, and has what looks like stab holes in it. I am definitely being fine when we move out, you groan. Maybe we could have a weird group of men in suits come and fix it if we go out, Jade suggests hopefully. You're not betting on that. Dave and Rose use some of their mending magic. They know to fuse the stab parts back together and fix the deep scratches, but the burns are a little beyond them. You figure Roxy doesn't burn much stuff, which is probably good. It's also very obvious you're being supervised the whole time, though the why of that still eludes you. Do they think you're about to run off, remove, and then drop kick some other vital organ from your body? Or maybe they just like you and want to spend time with you and you're just being paranoid. Who knows? Either way, Dave comes and gets you from Rose in the evening, claiming that since Solux is still elsewhere, he's going to need someone to sleep with lest he get nightmares, which, given that his boyfriend just nearly died today from heart maiming and Solux having his hand in... Wait, surely Solux's hands weren't sterile. Are you close enough to human to come down with some horrible infection? Don't surgeons wear multiple pairs of sterilized gloves for surgery? You're not saying that Solux was rooting through the trash before he put his hand through you and then rooted through the trash. You're the trash, but it's probably not sterile enough. You could bring this up to Dave, but you'd only worry him. So, oh, wait, this was the thing you were doing that upset people, right? Do you think angels can get infections? You ask Dave. What? Dave says thickly from the bathroom. He sounds like he's brushing his teeth. Solux just had his bare hand right up in my chest, you explain. You hear Dave spit into the sink, and a moment later he appears around the door with a frown on his face. Solux has never got sick or got an infection from anything. Have you before? I know you're not the same species, but there seems to be a lot of the same stuff going on, Dave says sensibly. No, you admit. And then you're probably fine. Just let us know if you feel not fine. I mean, you're always fine, look at you, but health-wise specifically, Dave rambles, and pointedly looks you up and down. Thanks, you say flatly. Always happy to help, Dave says and retreats to the bathroom again. Have you heard from Jade about June? Or from June yet? Maybe she just doesn't want to talk to me, you ask. You hear Dave gargling mouthwash from the other room and realize that you picked a bad time to ask him a question again. Actually, you think he's managing to convey frustration through the medium of gargling surprisingly well. Maybe you'll just contact Jade yourself since June is offline. Jade, has June come back yet? It's okay if she doesn't want to talk to me. I'm just worried. Carquette, it's been 10 minutes since you last messaged me. She isn't back yet. Sorry, shit. Look, it's fine. Really, I know you're worried, but I've been living with her and she's kind of a free spirit about this stuff. Kind of like a cat. She just comes and goes, and usually she asks if I want to come with, but not always. I'm sure that she is completely fine. I hope so. I just worry, you know. I am super aware of that, and I will let you know when she gets back. But Carcat, if you ask me if she is back one more time, I swear I'm going to come over there and make you eat your phone. Noted. Glad we're on the same page then. Sometimes I forget that you're terrifying. Ha! I lulled you into a false sense of security. More fool me, I guess. Exactly. Now, good night. Well, you're not going to message Jade again about June. Not tonight, at least. You look over Jade's messages and feel a little sad. Jade obviously knows June better than you do from rooming with her, but you must have known June from before, right? She knew your name when she first met you. The insecure part of your mind wants to suggest that maybe you don't really know June at all. Maybe you're a really bad friend, so no wonder failing to immediately and completely defend her from Solux made her leave you because you're the worst. You know that's irrational, obviously it is, but the little voice in your mind still whispers that at you. It's not true. You do know June. You might not know every little thing about her or where she is every second of the day. You didn't know her species, but that doesn't matter. You know her. You know that she's smarter than she shows herself to be and that she's aware of her own intelligence, but feels no real need to show it off. She likes surprising people. She cares about her friends. She's fun and endearingly sincere and nice. She's no saint, though. She can be kind of a dick sometimes, but all of you can. She can say the right thing at the right time to completely floor you, and then just laugh at your expense. She's, well, literally a god of pranks. Before you would have thought that it was just metaphorical, but apparently not. So, you don't know everything about June, fine, but you know enough to say that she's your friend, that she's a free-spirited person who... You sit up straighter on Dave's sofa. The belt, the cards on the belt. There was some that you didn't know, but the Fool card would be right for her, wouldn't it? You look up on your phone and stare at the description. It's about freedom, adventure, spontaneity, and a certain kind of idealism, but it's also about being reckless and a little naive at times. June really thought she could bring you back, which was optimistic, a way to give you freedom, your freedom, but definitely reckless. It's June. Staring at the card on your screen, on your phone, you note the gesture's outfit on the person depicted, and think Riley, that trickster. Dave, I gotta go back to my dorm for a moment. I need to check something. You call out into the bathroom. Can it wait, man? Dave asks, peering around the door. You see he's partway through washing his face. Not really, but you can trust me to go down a few flight of stairs on my own. I mean, really, you sigh. Dave turns, so bubbled all over his face, and yet he gives you such a scathingly skeptical look that you wince. I'm really just going to go down to my dorm and grab that belt. I think I worked something out, you assure him. Dave sighs and waves you off, turning back to the sink. You take it that's your cue, so you hurry off before you can explain that he wants you to wait or something. Ducking out of Dave's dorm and hurrying off down the stairs, you make your way miraculously unharmed to your own dorm and let yourself in. Your belt of holding is on the kitchen counter because where else would you keep it? You turn the belt around in your hands until you get to the pouch with the Fool card marked on it. Carcat, Rose says, leaning out of her door. I figured out June's card, you explain, and promptly jam your hand inside. You think about June, all you know about her and who she is as a person. As you do, this something presses into your hand. It feels sort of cylindrical, but there's stripes of something pressed into your palm. You stare as you pull the object out, boggling as you see a gaudy, solid gold violin. Or a fiddle, you suppose? There's probably a difference between the two, but you're fucked if you know it. Is that a golden fiddle, like from the song? Rose asks, completely baffled. It sure is, you nod, and turn the thing around. On the back of the golden fiddle, there is a small envelope taped to the metal, and on it, in Rose's handwriting, reads the words, For Rose. You take it off and hand it to her. Doing that reveals coordinates scratched into the gold. I'm not going to read coordinates, you guys could, it's fucking random coordinates. Also, remember when we last saw a golden fiddle, guys? Remember when we last saw a mention of a golden fiddle? Of some guy turning a fiddle to gold? It was a little bit ago. Anybody off the top of the dome remember? Anyways. Seeing as you don't know anything about coordinates, you open up your phone's browser and carefully type them in as Rose reads the letter addressed to her. When you've got the coordinates and you search and select the first map result that comes up, the page loads showing you Dubai, of all places, and you squint at the map. The building right there is listed as the Burj Khalifa. Googling that tells you that it's the tallest building in the world, and Google Images shows you the top of it being struck by lightning. An image starts to form, and you quickly check the weather in Dubai right now. Apparently, it is stormy as fuck, though that's not exactly their words. Skitty. Yup. You're going to Dubai then, Rose says stiffly. How did you know what I was looking at? You ask. Your phone wasn't pointed at her. Yeah, Lipty. Yeah, you got it. About his gentleman caller, and his gentleman caller meeting a man in a bar. Yeah. His gentleman caller meeting a man in a bar named Johnny, and then the two of them had a fiddle off, and the man named Johnny won, and the gentleman caller dropped his fiddle, and it turned into to solid gold. Anyways, I continue. It also says that everything will be explained tomorrow after Solux returns, which I don't like, but this is obviously my writing, and you just confirmed part of it already by saying that Dubai is indeed your destination, Rose says. She doesn't seem pleased with letting you fly off alone, but you guessed her past self who wrote that note knew to dangle the promise of answers before her to get her to do what she should do according to Rose's vision. I'll be careful, you assure her. I know. I'll tell Dave where you've gone and explain about that video to him. Probably something I should have done sooner, but I was rather distracted, Rose admits. Yeah, she was distracted by you and your possession. Thanks, Rose. You're the best, you tell her, and grab her in for a hug. You squeeze her tight, so happy to have her and so happy that she's safe from the literal devil possessing you and making you try to kill everyone. Go on, Rose says and pats your back. You let Rose go and climb the stairs. Rose goes with you as far as Dave's floor, and then you're on your own to the last bit of the climb to the roof. No one has snuck up to smoke, so you slip from view, unfurl your wings, and take to the sky. You look at your phone as you gain altitude and work out what way you're going to go and what you're facing now. If you're still trying to stay under the radar, you're going to have to fly slower than you theoretically could do. You take off in the vague direction of Dubai, staying invisible over land, but dropping that once you're over the sea. As you fly, you take the chance to look the golden fiddle over. It's wildly impractical as an instrument, being that it's really heavy. You also don't know enough about instruments to know if it's in tune or anything, but it does make notes when you pluck the strings out of sheer curiosity. You put it away after a bit, lest you drop into the ocean and have to dive to find it. When the land starts to appear under you once again, you take your phone out and fine-tune your directions to Dubai. The building is over half a mile, and as soon as you're anywhere close to the city, you can put your phone away. You can see it. From your research online, you know it was built to resemble a flower in places, that it houses all sorts of businesses and residential spaces. It really is an architectural marvel. Right now, it's the epicenter of a swirling storm, the eye of it centered right on the spire at the top of the building. Rain slicks your feathers as you fly, and even though your flight is technically magical instead of purely physical, you can feel how it's harder to fly as soaked as you are. Thunder booms, and the sky goes white as lightning snaps between the clouds and the reflecting pool area below. You need to get above this thing. You put on a burst of speed and jet through the storm clouds, hoping your speed will stay you on course. Once you're out of the clouds, you carefully try to line yourself up with the center of the storm and drop, hoping desperately to land on the roof and not impale yourself on a spike on the tower. Getting stabbed through the chest twice in 1 week would really suck. The storm around you is huge, swirling black and ominous, with flashes of lightning flickering within clouds that look so much more solid than they ought to. You fall, and the rain pelts your body. The wind tries to throw you around, but you still fall. Through the haze of the rain, you spot the highest point of the Burj Khalifa, the spire on the top with a square platform around it. And June. You fling yourself towards her, desperate to land and smack straight into the pole in the middle. June tilts her head a little and looks up at you from where she sat on the edge of the platform. It's hard to hear over the weather, but you think that maybe she laughed ever so slightly. You cling to the pole and lower yourself down, afraid of falling in a way that makes no sense for someone who can fly, but you're still afraid. June, you say hoarsely as you carefully sit down, wrapping one wing around the pole to try to hold on. You've already got 2 arms around the thing, but you can't have too many limbs holding on, can you? June turns her head slightly, and you finally notice how strange she looks. Unlike your hair that's slick with rain and flying everywhere from the wind, hers is just floating around in a hazy breeze that is completely dry. Her eyes are also different than normal. Behind her usual square glasses, her eyeballs are a solid bright blue, glowing like a neon sign. She's not human. June, I'm sorry, you say loudly. What are you sorry for? June asks. She doesn't sound judgmental, but instead she sounds genuinely confused. I'm sorry I didn't get between you and Solux more. I'm sorry I got you in trouble with him. I'm sorry you felt you had to leave. I'm sorry if my reaction to finding out what you were was wrong. I'm just sorry, you tell her. You don't have anything to be sorry for, Carcat, June says simply. The eye of the storm widens somewhat, and you don't know if the storm calms a little, or if it's just further away now. You feel a little less in danger, but you're still not looking off the edge if you can help it. This isn't how it was supposed to be, you know, June says distantly. She stares out across the storm of what little Dubai that you can see. What do you mean? You ask. June gives you a flat look, and you can tell from experience with Solux that she just rolled her eyes at you. You don't need to see pupils to know that. You can just tell by now. So she wants you to guess what she means. Time to start talking and thinking, hopefully not in that order, or at the very least at the same time. So you're a goddess. Is that necessarily a gendered term? Like actress definitely means woman who acts, but actor can mean either now? You babble. Either is fine. June cuts you off and you relax a little. I can't help but notice you're not up in the... You gesture vaguely up towards the sky. That is a thing you notice. June nods, looking back at the clouds. Are you hiding? Pretending to be a normal human so whatever put them up there doesn't find you? You ask. It's a valid theory. Nope, June says and pops the P in the word. You think she's trying to sound less bothered about this than she really is. Did you do whatever magic that caused the event? You ask her slowly. Carcat, I'm a trickster god that is especially aligned with the winds and storms, June says flatly. You're about to move on when you pause. Your time trying to word things to Solux and interpret his answers to your questions, making you look a little more closely. That's not a no, you point out. I was involved, she says slowly. So when you say that it wasn't meant to be like this, you mean this isn't how the world was meant to be after the event, you surmise. I wasn't sure how much you'd forget. It wasn't meant to be a bad thing. It was meant to be good. And it's not all bad, right? You have Solux back, and you're macking on Dave, and we have friends, and you maybe have that pale thing with Rose, who's always making googly eyes at Kanaya, so she's doing good. It's supposed to be good. No one is supposed to get possessed. It's not meant to be like this, June insists. For once, you're kind of at a loss for words. June just honestly admitted that she caused this event, or at least was partly responsible for doing it. She personally fucked with your life, or allowed your life to be fucked with. You could point out that things aren't that great right now, what with all the near-death experiences, but June doesn't exactly seem thrilled by that herself. What's worse is that Solux must know about this to some extent. He's a demon. They remember the whole before part really clearly, and he's obviously been working with June. You know he didn't have anything to do with this, but he's been involved since. That much is clear. What was the goal? You ask quietly. The storm around you is starting to thin, and June's shoulders slump. You were supposed to be safe and happy. No Cancri around to hurt you. I didn't know he was down here and got caught in it too, but even that could have been good. Without knowing everything about each other, maybe he could have been less shitty this time, but I guess that's not happening now. And I know things with you and Solux were rough, with him remembering and you not remembering him, but it worked out. We get to go to school and live together, learn cool stuff about human magic, just be normal, June says in a voice that's tired and sad. She fucked with your life, tore you and Solux apart. Without her, you wouldn't have had years alone in your shitty apartment in Georgia, of all places. You wouldn't have lost any chance you had to fix Cancri. But with all that said, you can't bring yourself to blame her fully. You don't know who else was involved in this, what meddling they did, or even how this whole deal worked. You look at June, who seems sad and regretful. You do know June. This whole situation is a flaming shit show. It's all clearly falling apart at the seams, and the wheels have come off, and I don't care if I'm mixing my metaphors, you say insistently, and June's shoulders hunch a little. But, you wrap your right arm and wing around her shoulder. I know you well enough to know that you didn't mean for it to be like that. What? June says quietly. Magic is hard as fuck, and you pointed out this kind of is above your pay grade even as a god. So maybe this didn't go to plan, and maybe whoever else you were working with fucked shit up royally, but I don't believe you were trying to make things worse, and you seem to be trying to fix this disaster as we go, which I appreciate, even though shit is rolling rapidly downhill on fire to oh fucksville, you continue. Are you trying to offer me some kind of absolution? Like a holy forgiveness from your god? June laughs in disbelief. I don't know, maybe. Maybe I would know if my brain wasn't mangled by this, but I guess we'll never know. I'm trying to say I'm not mad at you, fuckface, so maybe don't laugh at me, you snap. Oh, Carcat, you dork, June laughs and grabs you into a hug. A very tight hug. June, I don't know if I need a spine, but please don't snap it, you choke out as she squeezes the air from your lungs. June obligingly releases you from her godly hold and shifts to move in front of you, floating in the air above absolutely nothing. Ugh, God, you whine and rub your chest. Yes, June chirps, a dorky smile on her face. You try to kick her, but she bobs out of the way like a balloon on the breeze. Look, all I'm saying is that things would be easier if you weren't doing this all on your own. Obviously, Solux was helping you, but I think things would go smoothly if everyone was on the same page here, you tell her. I don't wanna... June starts looking away. No, fuck you. Listen, I get that you don't want to worry people or have people mad at you for keeping this a secret, but this is all going wrong, and we can't help or be prepared if we're all in the dark. Besides which, you're making Rose so suspicious of you. She's your friend. If you're honest with her, you can actually go back to normal. And maybe, if Solux isn't the only one in our group helping, then he won't be so stressed about it, and he'll be fractionally less of a bitch than usual. I say that only because he is always, contractually, at least somewhat of a bitch. You explain. That is what you've always said about him, June agrees. I'm glad that past me knew that, you nod. You look June over and feel that wave of surprise that your friend is a god wash over you again. Can I ask you something else? You say hesitantly. Sure, June replies in a little uncertainly and floats back to sit beside you once more. Rose had this vision of Solux fucking around and stealing statues from temples, statues of this male god. He also had those statues and things in his void, and in the memory that I had of you from Dirk, you looked like you, but you called yourself John, you say. June's fingers tighten on the edge of the platform that you're both sat on. Feel free to tell me to shut up and drop it, you offer quietly. It wasn't a question, June points out. You stay quiet and watch as the storm clouds in the distant churn and fade a little more. You might not have asked a question, but she knows what you're getting at, and you don't want to push. Gods come about through a bunch of different ways, June says into the open air. You turn your head and listen quietly. You can, as a god, have a kid with another god, like Zeus and Hera have Hephaestus. The way that happens can be different to how humans have kids, but it's basically the same. A god can make another god by removing parts of themselves. Sometimes that makes a god, sometimes it makes a magical species, but the point is it's a lot more designed, June explains. Yeah, you can think of a few gods that fit with. You can also as a god bone a human and have a kid, June goes on. Zeus, you nod. Not just him, but also, yeah, he did that a lot. The thing is gods don't have DNA. We combine with mortals spiritually, so anything on Earth that gets pregnant from that won't just be a clone of its mortal parents, but they're physically human with godliness breaking through. Sometimes that kid ends up a demigod, sometimes a whole god, it depends. I'm none of those. I'm a god that comes from a concept. Enough people look at the sky, see a storm, and wonder who did it, or feel like the world is fucking with them for fun, and you get belief. Belief that becomes me. All gods are subject to belief in them shaping them at least a little. But the more whole you were before, then the less that affects you. I didn't have a form before I was believed into one, so everything about me was flux based on what people thought, June explains. So you were a man or a woman, or both or neither, elemental or human looking based on how people saw you, or saw you on how they thought you should look, you guess. Right, but I'm a real person. June nods. Obviously, you agree. So I have the ability to work out who I am for myself, and I'm June. This is me, June says and gestures to herself. You nod because it's not like you're going to contradict her, is it? She knows who she is. She's the literal authority on that. Only when you have followers who are all blah blah blah, no, big lightning god, gotta have big muscles, be manly dude, full of man grit, not lady, blah. And then whenever you have a physical form, you're struck like that unless you spend a lot of effort changing it, June rants. That does suck, but also you did carry me up that stairs and flex, so I can see you kept the strength, you joke, trying to lighten the mood a little or something. Well, duh, being ripped is great. Who says men only get to be buff? Have you seen muscly girls? Dang, June sighs a little wistfully. Oh, I'm 100% with you. Did you ever see that Titans game show with The Rock? Male and female contestants doing these crazy athletic courses to win prizes? Buff dudes are boring, but the ladies? Holy shit, you whistle in awe. I know, right? Be still, my gay little heart, June says and swoons dramatically on the platform. So you started altering your temples and stuff to try to influence that shit, to stop people making you look like someone you're not. And when the event happened, you trail off meaningfully. June frowns at the sky above her and is silent for a moment. Like I said, the event was above my pay grade. I'm just a storm and trickster god, but theoretically, if you were in my shoes, don't tell me you wouldn't take the chance to make everyone forget that you weren't always the person you are now, just to keep the followers that believe the truth. She says cagely. No, I get that. And by followers, you mean your dad and those people in suits with the pseudonyms? You ask. Maybe, June says. How do you have a dad anyway? Is that just a cover or what? You ask. I'm adopted. I adopted him as my dad. He was my high priest first, but now he's my dad. He took me to baseball games, went to PTA meetings, makes cakes and cookies. Dad stuff, June says cheerily. That's absolutely not how adoption works, but you're not going to make this any more ridiculous by pointing that out. You stand up, wobble, and get a moment of vertigo at what feels to you like a very unsteady platform. You'd be way more comfortable being supported by nothing and flying than being on this. Listen, just come back. Be open with the others about what you are and what's going on. Then we can all work together to fix this. The others will understand. Really, you assure her. I don't want to... June sits up and seems to hesitate. About being a god, you ask. Well, I'm not psyched about that. It makes things harder for sure. But I really don't want to talk about not always being... June waves at herself. Oh, you don't have to. That's not really relevant to anything, is it? I'm sure they'd be good about it, but fuck, that's your business. You didn't even have to tell me after I saw what I did in that memory. You could have just said you didn't want to, and I'd have to shut up. I'm sure as shit not telling anyone that from behind your back, you say in a rush. No, I know you wouldn't, but I don't know. Maybe I'll tell them about that part. Maybe not. June hedges. Do you want me to promise to keep my mouth shut? Make a vow? I'll do it if it makes you feel better, you offer, and hold your hand out. You offer that far too readily. It's fine, I trust you. And you're also right that trying to do all this myself isn't really working right now. Some more help could be good, especially as Solix is probably never going to talk to me again, June says and bats your hand away. She floats up on her own 2 feet once more and sighs. Her appearance shifts so she looks human again, and she ruffles one hand through her hair. I'm sure he'll talk to you again, you assure her. June just kind of shrugs half-heartedly. She doesn't seem to have the confidence that you do. Solix did seem pretty livid, in fairness. If you're willing to go back, I'll start flying. I'm pretty sure you can fly with me, right? You check. She got here on her own, and you've seen her float, so you can assume she can do long distance, too. Of course I can. I can teleport you, too. Who do you think Solix was tethering those big, drawn-out teleporting circles to? Me. My sign. Look. June says and pulls her collar down to show a necklace that seems to shift into visibility. It has 2 familiar wavy lines on it, the one Rose told you about. Rose is gonna lose her shit, you sigh. I bet, June grins. She sets her hands on your arms, and her smile turns even more mischievous. What are you start to ask, right as June pulls you backwards off the building. The two of you plummet, and the wind is somehow holding your wings shut. You screech on the way down, shattering glass as you go, until suddenly you're hanging upside down in the air elsewhere. June lets you go, cackling with delight as you flutter upright to find yourself in the air above your dorm building. Your face! June giggles. You're the fucking worst, you hiss at her. Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm gonna go, track someone down. I'll be back here in the morning to talk to everyone. I promise. She swears. June twists in the air, and then, like the breeze, she's gone. You go invisible yourself, land, and reappear on the roof. I don't suppose you've seen Soluk since he vanished earlier, have you? No. Why? Also, where are you? I'm on the roof. June's coming back tomorrow morning, where stuff will be explained. Please don't ask me until then. All right. Really? That was a pretty weak justification, even for me. I mean, it's true, but that's not the point. You don't know that. Trust Karkat, remember? Oh. Right. Should I not? No, I don't have any intentions of lying to you. That's just a lot of faith to put in me. I know Video Rose said that, but you're real Rose. Yes, that's how I refer to myself. It doesn't in any way make me sound like some sort of body snatcher. Should I check under your bed to see if there's a human-sized pod there? I don't know. Should you? Well, I'm gonna go interrogate Dave. Is that what they call it these days? I'm not dignifying that with an answer. You leave the roof and go down to Dave's floor and knock on his door. You hope it'll be Solux who opens it, but no, it's Dave. Hey, you're back, Dave says. I am. Unmaimed, might I add too. See how that happens sometimes? You point out. Miracles. You just missed me talking to Solux, by the way. Come in, Dave says and walks inside his dorm. You follow and shut the door. In person? You ask. No, over the phone. He's seriously mad at June, but he won't explain much except she nearly killed you, and yeah, he's just really angry. He said he'd be back at some point. He got a whole mess to fix with Red Glare's office, and I'm pretty sure he needs to cool off. Go throw some rocks into a volcano or something. Dave shrugs. Is that a thing he does? You ask in surprise. He's immune to fire. Dave shrugs. Holy shit, that's a thing I could do. I want to try that, you whisper in awe. There you go. There's a date idea for you two. Throw stuff in a volcano together. Dave nods. You're already imagining what various things you would do when exposed to lava, and you dearly want to know. Still, you have bigger problems at hand. June said she's going to be back in the morning and explain everything. Maybe if we get the two of them together, we can try to fix this thing. You say. You really want to resolve this conflict. All you want is for all of you to be happy together, and for no one to be in danger of getting hurt or killed. Is that too much to ask? I hope so, too. Solux can sometimes blow up about stuff and calm down after, but when June gets mad, she tends to be mad for a bit. Not that I've ever seen either of them like that before, and I don't think this was a fight over nothing, Dave says, and fixes you with an intense stare through his shades. It was pretty bad, yeah, you admit. Solux was repeatedly making a point about how you nearly died, or at least that you would have gone away and never come back, which is what they tell little kids when pets or grandmas die. Karkat didn't go to live on the farm, Mom, he's dead, that kind of thing, Dave says flatly. Yeah, it wasn't certain. June mentioned that Silas could have maybe booted me back down here, and I think I remember that he used to do that for me before, but he was sort of a god himself, so for all I know he's away with the others. I hope he's not, but I don't exactly have proof of that, you admit. But you let June stop your heart anyway? Not that I know how she did that, but I guess I'll find out when she comes back or whatever. Dave mutters that last part. Like I said, if I didn't, I would have got possessed again, and it would have been worse. Last time I attacked you, I wasn't going to put you through that again, and I was made to cut Solux's head off. I couldn't do that, you say, and shudder as the images of it flash through your eyes. It's so deceptive to think that it doesn't count because Solux just came back to life immediately after. But you remember the feeling of the sword in your hand going through skin, muscle, and bone. You think you always might remember that. Dave must pick up your emotional state because he doesn't push you on your decision any more than he already has. Instead, he comes a little closer and leans in to look at you. You're not sure what he's trying to see until he nudges your chin with a finger, making you turn your head up to the side. You've got scars now, Dave says quietly. I do? That's new to you. Dave takes you by the hand and leads you to his room. He knocks a hoodie off of the corner of his full-length mirror and positions you in front of it. You turn your head a little, lifting your jaw, and sure enough, you see you have scars. A jagged one on one side and 4 more on the other side of your throat. On a kind of autopilot, you reach your hand up and manage to put your thumb over the solo mark and your other fingers on the 4 opposing it. That's where Matuna grabbed you and made sure you couldn't speak any awful curses at them. It was smart, but it really hurt. That's kind of an understatement, actually. Pressing on the scars now, it doesn't hurt at all. There's no dull throb of pain like you might get with a normal injury that's mostly healed over. Thank heaven for the small mercies, you suppose. A thought occurs, and you reach down, pulling your shirt up and over your head. Whoa, hello, hi, hey, Dave says, obviously surprised, but clearly not displeased by the sudden stripping. Can you keep your mind out of the gutter for a moment, you say from within your shirt. Just a moment, I can't. Would you join me after the moment's over? Dave asks, plausibly deniable flirting that doesn't fool you at all. Finally, free of your shirt, you look at your chest in the mirror. Right where your heart is there's the red sign that Kankri left you with. That's maybe a finger width under, let me read that again. Right where your heart is, there's a red sign that Kankri left you with, and maybe a finger's width under it is a thin and clean cut from where Solok stabbed you. There's more marks than that, though, ones you hadn't realized you had. Little pale cuts on your skin, like a desperate scrabble of claws. Right over your sign, there's 2 slightly deeper gashes that have healed over and cut through the sign, although they don't fully disrupt the glow there. Curious as to how you got those, you touch them, pressing your finger to the healed wound that surely bled out as you've had visions before. They were very distinct, a sharp delineation between reality and whatever you'd been seeing. With this, it's like you're experiencing it through liquid, like you're underwater. More importantly, you don't stop being aware of yourself standing there, but as if you were bonded to the moment, you can see you get both. No, come on, Solix hisses, kneeling over your body with very clear desperation. His hands are pressed over your heart, trying to do chest compressions as best he can. If I keep shocking him, June tries, you'll cook his heart, and then it'll be destroyed, and he definitely won't come back. Solok snarls at her. His claws scrape your skin, and blood flows out of the cut, pushing it from an artificial pulse moved by Solok himself. At least he's not going to get brain damage from not breathing, June offers hopefully. Shut up, Solok snaps between compressions of your chest. You watch yourself as Soluk's attempts to revive you go nowhere, and June looks more concerned. Solux pulls back, breathing hard and staring down at you. There's gotta be something, he whispers desperately. Solux, it's not working, June says quietly. She reaches for Solux, but he bats her hand away. He puts his right hand on your chest again and pauses, looking at the cut right under your sign. You can actually pinpoint the moment the idea occurs to him. With his right hand, he tries to keep your heart going as best he can, but it's kind of a two-handed job. You see the moment he claws your sign as he tries to keep his hand in place. With his left hand, he carefully works his way into the cut from where he stabbed you and reaches to your heart. Your hand drifts from the scar on your chest and guilt coils in your stomach. You really owe Solux for that, both for bringing you back and as an apology for putting him through that. You know you made the right choice. You don't fully agree with June keeping so much information back, and your decision to not tell Solux what the plan was isn't great. He has every right to be mad at her. Your choice made sense, and June was just trying to prevent disaster. You're all right, and your actions are all understandable, and yet everyone is upset and hurt. How are you in all the right, and yet... How are you all in the right, and yet all lost out here? That's not fair. And yet all lost... and yet all lost out here. That's not fair. I think I maybe need to write out an offer for Solux to get 2 free punches to my face or something for doing that to him. You sigh. Dave didn't see what you saw, but he can guess what you're thinking of, no doubt, from where you've been staring. Like a coupon? Dave asks. Yeah, I'll write in fancy calligraphy and everything. This coupon entitles the bearer to 1 free no-consequences fist to Karkat Mantis's stupid fucking face, or something like that. You groan. Given how upset he was by you nearly dying, I don't think causing you harm is on his mind right now, Dave reasons. I didn't put an expiry date on him. It's good for whatever, you say, and sit on the edge of Dave's bed. Think I'll go for that? Dave asks as he joins you. Probably not. I know he's not really into the violence thing, which is what I was trying to protect him from, but I managed to horrify him even more because I'm so smart, you say and throw your hands in the air in despair. Have you considered this wild thing I've heard of where you talk to him? Dave suggests sarcastically. He's right, and you hate it. I'm really sorry I went behind your back and nearly died. I saw you trying to bring me back, some weird vision thing, but I saw what it did to you. I'm sorry, and I'm the worst. Not now, KK. I know, I get it. If you're too angry to talk right now, I completely understand. No, I'm trying to do something magically complicated right now. Oh, really? Yes. Look, I'll come find you when I'm done. If you want to make it up to me, stay with Dave. I can do that. Good. You turn your phone around to show Dave, who reads over the conversation in silence. He doesn't seem super pissed at you, and I'm not going to complain about getting free Carcat to myself, Dave says and flashes you a grin. You are suddenly and acutely aware that you're still shirtless and sat on his bed. You mumble, looking down at yourself. Really, he's a great wingman, Dave adds with a solemn nod. Surely, you pause and let your wings flutter out of your back, curling one around him. I would be the wingman, seeing as I'm the one with the wings. I'm not sure if that was smooth or stupid, but I approve either way, Dave says after a moment of staring at you. Isn't that basically the foundation of our relationship, that we can appreciate each other's stupidity? You ask. You should work for Hallmark, or at least break into their factories and print your own card lines, Dave suggests. I'm not sure exactly what laws that would be against, but I'm sure it's against some, you say. Coward. Hey, speaking of consequences for actions, do you need to tell Rose you're apparently staying here? I'd hate for her to think you'd gone missing and then come up here and remove my spleen for hiding you or something, Dave asks. Why your spleen specifically? You ask curiously. There's a tiered rating system for organ theft for certain offenses, obviously. You know, normal sibling stuff. You shrug. I don't think you'd know it if, I don't think you'd know normal if it danced naked in front of you, but whatever. I already told Rose I was coming to see you to interrogate you about Solix's whereabouts, and she said, is that what they're calling it now? Because of course she did. You groan. She doubled your, how do you say that word? Entendre? On your, whatever that word. Dave snorts. Yep, you say. You're now even more aware of the fact you're in Dave's room, your boyfriend's room, alone and shirtless, with all this subtext going on. Your wings flicker nervously, trying to pin in close to your back, but the bed that you're sitting on is very much in the way, so you just twist a few feathers in the process and wince at it. Hey, careful, Dave says and reaches for your wings. He smooths your feathers down and sets your wings at a proper and comfortable angle for it. His voice is gentle, and you're reminded of the way he used to talk to you when you were stuck as a bird. He was gentle and soothing most of the time because he assumed, rightly, that you'd be freaked out at being forced to be a bird. But when he talked to you, like it wasn't like he was talking to a little. But when he talked to you, it wasn't like he was talking to a little kid. He treated you like you, just a you who was having a bad time and couldn't answer him verbally. You think you probably haven't given Dave quite enough credit through all of this. Thank you, you tell him firmly. You're welcome. Bent feathers seem like they'd suck, Dave says, a little confused. No, not that. Well, also that, but that wasn't what I meant. You've been great with all this bullshit. I just wanted to thank you properly for it, you say and wave a hand vaguely at your wings. Are you thanking me for not being a dick about your species? Really? Dave asks skeptically. Look, I'd known I wasn't human. I didn't know about this, and neither did you. You didn't sign up for that. It's been a lot of drama and unsettling body stuff, extra limbs, weird powers, sometimes being some kind of bird, getting possessed. You list off. Really, you could list more. Carcat, man. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Carcat, man, I like you, okay? Dave says, and rests his hand on your shoulder. He's being so gentle, you think you're going to die. You can't just say something like that, you say in a strangled voice. Oh shit, Carcat defeated by very faint levels of endearment. Wait until I tell you that I like you a lot. That I think about you when you're not around, and I actually really like how you look, and I like your wings and halo. I think they're cool, Dave insists. You cover your face with your hands, and you get the feeling that your halo has appeared all by itself, and is probably glowing brightly to expose your feelings. Dave shifts on the bed, leaning his arm on your shoulder so he can aggressively get in your space. He tries to gently wriggle one of your hands free from your face by inching his fingers into your wrist. I think you're cute. Actually, I like your hair and your face. I like that scowl you do when you think. It's like you're angry at ideas for trying to get in your head, Dave insists. You groan into your palms. I like how you're on a personal mission with lip balm to both stop your very nice lips from chapping in the cold and remove my ability to have any thoughts that aren't immediately making out with you. Dave goes on. You make a strangled noise. You can't deal with Dave being so complimentary to you. Was the lip chap thing from Alternate Universe, or was that from... Wasn't there another fic with lip chap thing? Or with the... Wasn't that an unda fic? Am I crazy? That wasn't in Alternate Universe. That was in YWDMP? No. Maybe that was an Alternate Universe. Maybe... No, actually I think it was an Alternate Universe. It was. Okay, never mind. I'm trying to remember. You make a strangled noise. You can't deal with Dave being so complimentary to you. It's one thing with Solux, who is neither subtle nor in any way trying to hide his attraction. No, it wasn't, because it was like a gay thing, right? Oh, it was. It was the spell at the beginning. It was. Yes. Okay. It was. It was Alternate Universe. But I thought he had the whole thing of like... Because Dave isn't like... Wasn't there a fic? Oh my god, maybe I am mixing up moments. But he's like, you know, you use chapstick, isn't that like kind of gay? Because like Dave, but like Dave in this fic is like very like openly bisexual, doesn't have problems with his homophobia, or internalized homophobia. I thought that was in like MC Escher. I could have sworn it was in MC Escher. But I remember specifically... Oh, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm insane. Maybe I am insane. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about a different fucking thing. No, I know it was... Like, I know that Carcat's gay. But, like, I specifically remember, like, Dave being, like... he doesn't have problems. Internalized homophobia. Oh my god, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm insane. I could have sworn the chapstick thing comes up in a different undefic. Maybe I'm insane. Anyways, sorry. Let's fucking get back to the the moment that these characters are having. It might actually just be Alternate Universe. I don't know. It might just be Alternate Universe. Or it's fine. I don't know. Anyways. You make a strangled noise. You can't deal with Dave being so complimentary to you. It's one thing with Solux, who is neither subtle nor in any way trying to hide his attraction to you. I feel like you're right, but I genuinely don't know. I feel like I'm right too. Hold on. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm like putting a fucking heart. So this is like, we're in the middle of a scene. I need to know. I feel like it was in YWDMP. Am I crazy? It's not in YWDMP? Is it really not? Am I insane? We're having a chapstick sidetrack. I have like fucking memories. Where are these memories from? Was it not an MC Escher? Is it not an MC Escher? It's not an MC Escher. It's not... Was it in Dave's Broken Diamond Club? There's no way it was in Dave's Broken Diamond Club, because why would Dave ever be homophobic when he's a fucking troll? Okay, maybe I'm insane. I'm gonna fucking do research later. What the hell? What the fuck? Anyways, oh my god. Maybe it is just Alternate Universe and I'm crazy. Maybe it is. Or maybe I'm confusing it with the MC... No, I don't know. Anyways, sorry, let's return back to our fucking scheduled program. You make a strangled noise. You can't deal with Dave being so complimentary to you. It's one thing with Solux, who is neither subtle nor in any way trying to hide his attraction to you. It's entirely another when you're dealing with Dave, who is a little more reserved with that stuff, or when he's not being reserved, it comes off like a joke, or something he's playing at instead of actual desire on his part. It's probably his way of protecting himself, a security in the idea that if you react badly, he could laugh it off as if that's what he meant. For him to outright say that something mundane that you do makes him think about kissing you to the extent that he can't think of anything else, that's really something for him. This is stupid, and you're dumb. You do like him and he likes you back. This has been established. It's just, with Solux, once you knew that you two had dated in the past, it took a lot of the pressure off. He already knew how you felt because it'd all been done before. Even though you had to work your feelings out yourself, there wasn't any real reason to doubt it. With Dave, it's all new and kind of scary. No, not why didn't he pee? Because in that one, when Dave gets to him, he likes her his voice and told him. Yes, Giddy. I'm gonna have to look after. I'm gonna have to look back in alternate universe and see if the moment I'm thinking of is just the one from alternate universe. Anyways. Even so, he is dating you, and this isn't something you want to hide from. Not really. You lower your hands and shoot him a nervous look. Dave had his hands resting on your shoulder, and his chin is placed on the back of that same hand. With his free hand, he reaches up above your head, and you suppose touches your halo. Not that it's a physical thing, and not that you can feel it. You're glowing pretty bright there, Dave says quietly. You open your mouth, hesitate, and then mentally kick yourself for being so in your own head. Just talk to the guy. It's because I like you. You make me happy. You tell him as bluntly as you can to avoid fucking the statement up, hedging anything, or accidentally insulting him. Dave seems to light up at being given this simple statement of affection. His expression then shifts into a mischievous little grin, and he ducks in close to kiss you. Your breath catches in your chest, especially as his fingers slide along the side of your face. Your mind stutters and has to reboot when Dave stops kissing you, and you realize he's looking up above your head. What? You ask, self-consciously running a hand through your hair, as if that'd do anything to your halo. It does get brighter, Dave grins. You already knew that, you grumble. Yes, but you need to repeat science experiments and shit, verify your data, run tests under different conditions. You have to be thorough with this kind of thing, Carcat. What do you take me for? Dave rambles, but you're pretty sure you can see the direction that thought process is going. I see. Well, then if it's for science, you nod solemnly. Shit, yeah, data, science, Dave nods. What an idiot. God, you like him so much. You kiss him anyway, and that occupies several very delightful minutes until Dave touches your bare skin on your side with his delicate fingers, and your wings jolt in response. The feathers drag the wrong way across the bed again, and you have to break the kiss to hiss in discomfort. Oh, I have a solution to that, Dave says cheerily, then grabs you by the shoulders and falls onto his back on the bed, pulling you with him. Admittedly, leaning over him on the bed means that your wings are out of the way of most things now. I see. This is your solution, huh? You challenge him dubiously. It works, Dave says, suddenly defensive. I could have just put them away, or we could have stopped. Awfully convenient for you that this is the solution that you come up with. Not that you benefit from this in any way at all, huh? You say suspiciously, leaning over him. Oh, cool. If you open your wings a little, you can actually lean on them a bit as you look down at Dave. Most people would probably find that intimidating, but somehow you think Dave has different feelings about that. I'm hurt that you'd accuse me of ulterior motives. Dave huffs. He reaches a hand up and buries it in the fine fluffy feathers near where your wings attach to your back, or as close as he can get by reaching over your shoulder. The statement of denial would carry a lot more weight if you weren't, currently feeling me up, you point out. I can't believe you'd insult my scientific credentials like this. I've done so much for science, and this is how I'm repaid, Dave rambles. Dumbass. Luckily, you find ways of stopping Dave's stupid ramblings about all that he does for science. It works out pretty well. The next morning, something wakes you up, but you're not sure what it is exactly. It's as if your mind just got booted out of sleep because something happened, but you're at a loss for what it is. You lean up on your arm as best you can, what part of it that isn't pinned under Dave's neck and head that is, and look around. Nothing in the room seems different, and your phone charm isn't flashing, nor is Dave's. Whatever woke you hasn't disturbed Dave. His bare back against your chest is ever so slowly rising and falling with his peaceful breathing. You stay put, your ears attuned to any sound. It's pretty early, so there's not much in any way of sound from the other dorms' rooms or from outside, and what little sound you can hear is nothing more than you would have heard back in your apartment in Georgia, so that wouldn't have woke you. You pull your arm out from under Dave and shuffle away from his back. It's a little difficult in part because your legs are all tangled together, but you manage to separate yourself from him delicately enough that he doesn't wake up. You're thankful that you put your wings away before you fell asleep with Dave, because it makes stealth even more difficult. You feel reasonably certain that the two of you aren't alone anymore. Something woke you. Something tripped your senses. Maybe it's Solux. He was supposed to come back today, but if there's any chance it's someone come to hurt Dave or jump you, then you don't want to be unprepared. Getting your foot on the floor is a little tricky. You're trying not to nudge Dave's hastily removed jeans or the belt buckle on them that will no doubt make a sound. Once you're steady, you summon normal clothes magically, and then your weapon, which is back to being its usual shape instead of a glitchy sword. Creeping silently to the door, you turn the handle as slowly as possible and ease the door back without a sound. You can feel a presence beyond the door as you slip out into the living room. Your muscles snap taut at the movement over by the kitchen, and there's a flare of demonic light right after. Light that fades immediately. "Don't sneak up on me," Solux hisses. "Sorry, I didn't know it was you. I thought someone else might be coming here for Dave again," you hiss back and pull the door closed behind you. Solux tilts his head a little as he looks you up and down and nods. "Nice to see you'd come out trying to maim anyone who tried," Solux says approvingly. "Somehow, I think he's safe from you," you snort and dismiss your weapon. "Of course he is." Solux shrugs and hops onto the counter and gives you a shitty grin, like he knows something you don't. Or perhaps just knows more than he should. "Have fun?" Solux asks teasingly. "Do you have to be terrible all of the time? Also, I'm not telling you anything," you mutter. "I do. And I know. You don't kiss and tell. Me and Dave do, though," Solux says cheerily right as the door behind you opens and a bleary-eyed Dave dressed in only boxers emerges. What?" he yawns. "Share all the details about Carcat," Solux repeats. "Shit, yeah, I have so much to tell you. We fucked! It was great!" Dave says delightedly, and as if you weren't right there, walks past you and fist bumps Solux. Having two boyfriends sounds amazing on paper until you realize that they're going to talk about you and that they're both complete shitlords, and why is this your life? You walk off to the side, pick a pillow from the sofa, and scream into it for a moment. It helps a little. One of Dave's neighbors bangs on the wall angrily, and Dave and Solux are besides themselves laughing. You have a fleeting moment where you contemplate complaining to Rose about how awful the two of them are, but somehow you don't think you'll get anywhere with that. "Can we not get the play-by-play when I'm right here, in the room?" you ask exasperatedly. Later, Solux says to Dave with a sharp smile, who nods. "Why is this happening to you?" "Not to change the subject," you start. "Entirely because you want to change the subject," Solux corrects. "Fine. We should go see June this morning. I caught her up and talked to her yesterday, and she said," you start. "I have nothing to say to her," Solux says, all levity suddenly gone. "I know she fucked up, and we could have lost Carcat, but if he's talked to her and is fine, and she wants to explain, then we should at least hear her out. She's our friend," Dave says patiently. "No, she's not," Solux says with a growl building in his voice. "Yes, she is," Dave says back firmly. "I'm not going," Solux insists. "Well, I'm going. I'm sure Rose will want to go too, and Jade." "Dave?" you ask, looking over at him. "Hell yeah, I'm going. I'd rather find out information instead of just deciding shit for myself." Dave nods. "You should probably put clothes on, then," you suggest. "Really? You think that's a thing I should do? What did I ever do before I met you, Carcat?" Dave says sarcastically. "I don't know, but I imagine you did it without much in the way of clothes, if this is any indication," you retort. "Well, just to show you, I will put on clothes and then go see June. You can't stop me," Dave says, and that last part to Solux, and goes back into his room. "I can't make you come with us, but wouldn't you rather hear her out?" you ask Solux quietly now that Dave isn't in the room. "I'm not even surprised that you still trust her. You're an idiot with trusting people," Solux mutters. "She's my friend, and she was trying to help. I know it went bad, and I saw what you went through, trying to bring me back, I mean. It kind of left a mark," you say, and vanish your shirt so you can show off the claw marks through your sign. You're not sure exactly how you expected Solux to react. with surprise, perhaps. You were dead, and then you were fine, so suddenly having a scar could be surprising. Or he could be angry at the reminder of what he agreed to. But no, he just seemed sad. Why do I have scars anyway? My body isn't real like Dave's is. I'm not human. Why do I scar? You ask. You don't. Not physically. Your body on this plane is a representation of who you are in a way that's tolerable to mortals. Or this one specifically. One that looks human. If you show scars on your body, it's a translation of emotional scarring. If you cut yourself on an overly sharp stale railing or something and it means nothing to you, it won't leave a mark. Matuna clawing through your throat to stop him cursing us with your voice, traumatizing and scarring. Me clawing at your chest as I try to stop you dying, emotionally significant. If an injury has an effect on you, it can leave a mark, Solix explains. Solix is wearing an unzipped hoodie right now, but he has a t-shirt under it. His neck is bare, and you can see his hands and face. There are pale, thin scars on him, the kind you might get from a very sharp sword. I'm sorry I put you through that. You apologize again. He shrugs. I know what you're like, trying to save people no matter what happens to you. I'm used to it. I don't like it when it nearly kills you, but I know to expect it. I'm not the only one who knows. Solix says that last part significantly. He means June knows you're like that. You think I was manipulated, you conclude and put your shirt back on. I know you were, he says immediately. What's the line between her manipulating me and her knowing what I'm like and what I'd feel about something? If she knows I'd want to make that choice and there was a deadline to give me that information, you start. There wasn't a deadline. She tricked me into leaving, faked relics to shut down Red Claire's office, separated you from everyone, all so you would make that dumb decision with no one around to talk you out of it. Solix snaps at you. Okay, I'm not comfortable with her doing that. I don't think she should have gone behind your back, but I do think I made the right call. I don't want to hurt any of you, but if I had died, it would have been better than him coming back, wouldn't it? I don't want any more scars on you from that, especially not because of me. You reason. You step a little closer to him, close enough to touch, and reach out to his neck. There's a thin line there, a faint scar where the blade in your hand sliced through him. Solix doesn't have anything to say to that. Behind you, Dave's bedroom door shuts, and you turn to see him fully dressed. I messaged Rose and June, and they want to meet up in June and Jade's dorm to talk everything over. So I guess we're skipping our languages lab, but this seems pretty important to me, Dave says. Oh, shit, you still have classes. God damn it. Well, Dave is right. You do need to sort this out. Please, come with us, Dave asks Solux, his voice gentle. Solux's jaw tenses for a moment. His eyes narrow as he stares Dave down, but he sighs and seems to relent, though it doesn't stop the scowling. Fine, he says, his voice somewhat stiff. It seems to be good enough for Dave, who leads him off with a look at you to follow them. You're not one to look a gift horse in the mouth or anything, but as you follow Dave and Solux to June's room, you can't help but wonder about how Dave and Solux's dynamic works. Dave didn't make Solux come with him, not that you think anyone can make Solux do anything he didn't want to, really. Dave just asked. Is it because it means a lot to Dave for June and Solux to get along, or is Solux respectful of what Dave wants? Enough to at least go along and hear June out? Or has Solux decided that he wants to hear what June has to say, just so he knows what she's told Dave? Is there some duplicitous reason for him going? They're Moirels, you know that, but it's hard to know what that must really feel like. Carcat, Rose calls to you in the hallway. She's just coming out of the stairwell on her way up to June and Jade's dorm. Oh, what a coincidence. That's like the next line. Morning, you greet her, and Rose joins you at hers. Unda, you scamp. Oh my goodness. The little play-by-play there. I didn't think that Solux would show up to this. He didn't exactly seem on good terms with June before, Rose says softly, though you suspect that Solux can still hear her. Dave asked him to. You answer. Rose nods as if that explains it at all. You glance at Rose out of the corner of your eye. Solux and June both thought you and Rose were edging towards being Moirels that you have with her, what Solux has with Dave. You try to think if you would give someone who hurt you a chance if Rose asked you to. You'd think you might, but then didn't Solux say that you were too forgiving? Maybe that's just you. The better question is would Rose give someone that chance if you asked her? But then again, didn't that video she made tell her explicitly to trust you and only you? That's something. Oh boy, you're really not sure you have the space to think about this right now, and Rose has made it clear before that concept upsets her view of her own orientation, and the last thing you'd want to do is make her feel like that. But still, it's food for thought at least. The hallway isn't that long, and June and Jade don't live that far down. You don't have all the time in the world to wonder about how more allegiances work. You have a June to talk to. Dave is the one who knocks on the door, and June answers quickly, as if she'd been waiting right there for you. She seems nervous as she steps aside to let you in and stares, and the stare that passes between her and Solux is tense, to say the very least. You all try to find seats, which involves a fair bit of perching on the arms of chairs, and June staying standing to talk and answer questions. Once you're all settled, June takes a big breath and seems to hold it, looking around at all of you. So, June hesitates. She sighs and then takes one foot off the floor, then the other. Her hair floats around her, her eyes take on that bluish glow from before, and outside the windows of the dorm, the sky turns very dark. Jade and Dave sensibly react with alarm and confusion, but Rose is fixed, just staring at her. "You're the storm god," Rose says slowly. "Yeah, I am," June nods. "But the statues... Rose pauses, and you can see her putting two and two together. She looks over at Solux, who is lurking by Dave's side, ominous and angry. "You were the storm that happened the night all those death statues were destroyed," Rose concludes. "I was trying to make Solux feel better," June says, and Solux glares at the floor, like the reminder that he and June have done nice things for each other actively hurts right now. "And the statues and the temple destruction. I see," Rose nods. "I don't," Jade says loudly. "Yeah, what the fuck? June can't be a god. We went to high school with her," Dave protests. "A valid point, however," June says and points at the window just in time for lightning to strike the ground just outside the building. "I still am." "Why would a god sit through Mr. Jurgen's 9 a.m. Monday math class? What is wrong with you?" Dave demands. "A good question," Solux mutters. "Would it kill you to be nice?" You hiss at him. "Why risk it?" Solux retorts. "Why didn't you tell us what you were? Why did you say you were human? Oh gosh, that's what Dave and Rose's mom was going about with accusing you of lying," Jade gasps as she realizes. "Yeah, she wasn't cool with the acting human thing. I'm sorry I lied to all of you, but I had my reasons," June admits. "Reasons to do with the event, I assume," Rose concludes. "Yeah, I'm not supposed to be admitting what I am. I'm meant to be acting human and happy with that. I like living like this. I have followers, but I get to just be a person and do normal stuff. Have friends. It's nice," June says quietly. "I am so lost," Dave says quietly. All right. Look, how about this? I'm guessing that Carcat just found out you were God yesterday because, let's be real, he's got a terrible poker face," Jade starts. "Hey," you protest. "No, she's got you there. You should take lessons from me," Dave nods. "Please, Dave, I've seen glass less transparent than you." Rose tuts. "Anyway, I figure he found out yesterday when whatever happened went down in his room, so how about we all go over that and explain everything from there?" Jade suggests. "Good idea," Rose agrees. "Fine, let's up front say I know the god that possessed Carcat. I mean, I used to. He changed an awful lot when he took the job on and kind of decayed worse. But I know what he's like. I'm familiar with the stuff he can summon, how his magic works, all of that. The sword Carcat summoned was, for a start, not Carcat's type of weapon, and the sort of magical glitch is him all over. Carcat couldn't do anything, or couldn't do that by himself, so it meant that he was still in there," June explains. "You didn't know that. It could have been residual hellish energy, or an overwrite in his summoning spell, or anything, but no, you just went straight to trying to kill him," Solux snarls. "I was right," June shouts back. Whoa, cool it. We'll get there. June, you saw the weird-ass sword, then what?" Jade says, getting physically in between a literal god and a demon, because Jade knows no fear, apparently. "I knew that Solux wouldn't let me do what I needed to do with Carcat to fix the problem, so I may have made a diversion for him and made Carcat think he had to go back to the dorm," June admits. "You gave him that fever?" Dave asks in surprise. "Hot air. The storms are my thing, along with tricks, but I'm more wind than I am thunderbolts and lightning. I can do that, but heating Carcat up with the hot summer storm air was no problem. Sorry about that." June apologizes and you shrug. The relics at Red Glare's office. How did you do that? Rose asks. It was trickery. No one was really going to be hurt. Also, I had some of my followers do that, June explains. Solix doesn't seem at all amused by June's actions. Your followers, you mean the pseudo-men in suits? Rose asks. Pseudo? Oh, that's genius. Yeah, they're mine. This is what happens when you're a trickster god. You tell your followers to go by fake names like John Doe or something, and they all make a joke of it, and the whole thing just snowballs. June snorts, laughing. As a side note, why are your followers stalking out my family's home? Jade asks, hesitating on whether to call Joey and Jude her siblings or not. It's hard. They grew up with Jake as their father, but she always considered him her grandparents, so working out their relationship must be tricky. About that, my dad is a follower of mine who adopted me since I'm a living human right now. Jake is his uncle, but they're really estranged. I didn't even know about you at all. And like I said, me and him go way back, and my dad is pretty protected by being my follower, but Joey and Jude weren't. It'd still hurt my dad if anything happened to them, and since they also had a connection to Roxy Lalonde, who went around messing with Demon Society, it painted a pretty big target on their back. Once Roxy decided to protect them, before I could, and so I just had people keep an eye on them to make sure that everything was okay, even if that protection failed, June explains. And they bailed us out of the police station, Dave adds eagerly. You're welcome for that, and destroying all the evidence that you guys committed crimes, by the way, June nods. Solix is clearly looking less and less pleased at how well June is coming off in this interrogation. Can we get back to the fact how you lied and killed Karkat? Solix interrupts, effectively putting a stop to that conversation. Fine, I lied. I got you away and I got Karkat alone. I told him what I already told you, and that he was possessed still, and that it was only a matter of time until he got enough power to take him over again, and this time he'd be way more calculating. He'd torture and kill for ages, before being caught, and being an angelic body, he could do so much more damage. I told Karkat all that, and he agreed. We stopped his heart, we broke the connection, and everyone is now safe, June says firmly. Only he wasn't. You stopped his heart and you couldn't start it again. We never would have got him back at all if I hadn't stuck my hand in his chest and started his heart again. By hand, Solix snarls. Right? And I'm sorry that happened. I like Karkat. We're friends. I didn't want him to be stuck in heaven, but that wasn't a dead certainty that he would be stuck if he did end up there, because he snuck out before a bunch. Things might be different now, and we don't know that, June insists. Also, even if I had to die, I'd rather that than all of you, and who knows who else could have been attacked, killed, or tortured. I agree to that risk, and I'm sorry it did it behind your back. That was shitty of me, but I couldn't stand the thought of anything happening to you, you add. That's not the point. You make dumb sacrifices with your life all the time. I'm not talking about that. Solix snaps at you. Solix, man, stop pushing this. You really don't want to have this argument, June warns him. Don't talk to me like that. You went behind my back. We're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be on the same team, Solix shouts, pointing his finger in her face. We are. That means that if I have to make the decisions you can't, I will. I lied to you, yeah. And sure, I might have pushed Karkat's buttons in the interest of time, but it was objectively the right choice, and he still agrees with that. You don't want this argument. You're upset. It's understandable, June says reasonably. He's my kinesis. You had no right to, Solix hisses. To do what you couldn't? Is that what you mean? June retorts, her gaze fierce and the air around her literally crackling with static. Solix pulls back, eyes wide. Dave told me how the fight went down. I saw the cut on Karkat's chest. You've spent way too long with the sword in hand not to hit the guy's heart when I know you've done it to Karkat like 50 fucking times before. Only now you two are together and you can't make yourself do it. You couldn't destroy his body and risk never seeing him again, even when he'd agreed to that, and it would have saved everyone. So I did it. I even got you out of the way so you didn't have to blame yourself for not stopping me. You're fucking welcome, June snaps at Solix. Solix pulls back, kind of cringing as he does so. I could have. I made a choice. It was the risk that he couldn't come back, and it wasn't like I could ask him then. It wasn't right, Solix insists, but he doesn't sound especially convincing. Hey, wait, okay, this isn't your fault, Solix. I don't think I could have risked killing you to save everyone, not unless you were actively demanding I do it. I was possessed. It wasn't like I could agree at the time, you point out, but your attempts to soften June's words seem to hurt Solux more. We are friends, Solux. You couldn't do it, so I did it for you. I have your back, June says, her voice calm and the static around her fading.
No, you made the wrong call. You had no right to... Solix protests. Only I didn't make the wrong call, June says. Solix is staring June down, and though June seems unhappy with this whole situation, she's not backing down. You don't know what to say, and everyone else seems just as frozen, too afraid to make the situation worse to say anything. Solix, it's okay, June tells him softly. No, fuck you, Solix snarls, and then with a flash, he's gone. June sighs, drops back to the floor properly, and fades back into looking convincingly human. I'm not exactly all right with the decisions made here, but it seems a lot like whatever that argument was ended up being about more than just what happened to Karkat. Explain? Rose asks after a moment of silence has passed. June sighs and sweeps her hair back from her face, a frown pinching her brow as she takes a moment or two to think. The devil, Dirk, he had this thing about utility and purpose and strength. He made Solix's maker, and he was not good to them. Solix didn't destroy Karkat when he had the chance. Doing so would have ended the possession for good, but it could have got Karkat stuck in heaven. Without his god around to grant him a new body, he'd be stuck there. Since we've seen other angels who weren't down here at the time, it's possible they're still giving out passes somehow, or those angels had valid bodies that they could have used. So whether Karkat could have come back or not, whether he could have found his usual sneaky way of getting his body back and returning to Earth was a mystery. Karkat had no way of agreeing to that when Solix had the chance to stab him, June explains. I was really possessed. I couldn't talk. It was all him. You agree? Right. So Solix had to weigh up whether to just stab you enough to hold you in place or whether to destroy you, even though that might mean the angels killed you or just locked you away so he'd never see you again, assuming you didn't escape back here. He chose not to. I saw the evidence that Karkat was still possessed, and Solix wrote it off as residual effects because if it's not, then he'd have to do what I did, and he couldn't, because he loves Karkat. Or hates. Whatever. She continues. That's entirely understandable, though, Jade says sympathetically. It's a pretty impossible position to put him in. You agree? Right. Of course it is. But he made the wrong call. He wasn't strong enough to do what he needed to do. He was weak. Or that's how he was taught to think about that sort of thing, June points out. I remember him thinking something like that about Solix missing my heart. That it was a weak and disappointing decision for him to make. You say grimly. Yeah. So me cutting him out of the decision and doing what had to be done wasn't just traumatizing because I couldn't shock you back to life, but because it showed him up as being weak, a liability, someone failing what he was made to do, or whatever. That kind of thing is pretty punished down there from how I hear it. Dirk kind of fucked him up about that stuff, June says. So him being angry at you only makes sense if you made some immoral choice. He has to stay angry at you because the alternative is too horrible for him to consider. Rose concludes and June nods. Oh, Solix, Dave whispers, clearly heartbroken. That kind of explains why Solix isn't angry at you for what you did, but is livid at June. He can recognize you made a hard decision and risked your own well-being for others, but June's actions are tied up with his inaction. June being bright means that he was wrong. I'm going back to my dorm. I'm gonna get Solux. I'll see you guys later. I'm not sure how much later, but eventually, Dave says and stands up. Let me know if I can help, you offer, and Dave nods before excusing himself. The door shuts and the four of you are alone. One angel, a fae, a human, and a god. It sounds like the opening to a bad joke. I'm sorry I didn't tell you all about me earlier. I just wanted some normality, and the world doesn't have gods now, doesn't need them. I just wanted to be me, June says. I can understand, though I'm not fond of you actively lying in the past. I do have questions. I'm sure more will come to me, but this doesn't seem like the time. I suppose the only one that matters is, are you still our friend? Was that all real? Rose asks. What? Of course it is. You guys are my best friends, June says, her eyes filling with tears. You're dragged into a group hug with the girls, even though several of them are way stronger than they should be, and you think you can hear your vertebrae groan under the strength of it. Things seem a little better now. You hope there'll be fewer secrets, and that Solix and June will be able to go back to normal. You're also pretty sure that Rose has worked out the whole god/goddess thing, but like you, doesn't see that as relevant in comparison to June saying she found out your species some other way when she really just remembered you. You just hope Solux is okay. It seems like his maker's maker left more than just physical scars on him. Man, he'd better hope he stays locked up with the other gods because you are entirely down to fight him. Chapter ends. Bada bing, bada boom. Wow. Fun one tonight. Oh my goodness. Lot of clearing things up. We get some more information. Yippee. Tomorrow's is 33. Another 6, about the same length as today's. And then we won't have one until Monday, but we have one more tomorrow, because tomorrow will be a Thursday. But yeah, fun chapter. Okay. For once, I'm not going, what the fuck, at the end of the chapter. Yay, true. Hold on, I'm gonna do this really quick. Because I want to look at the entire work and do Command F chapstick. Okay, I think it actually is just from Alternate Universe that I was remembering. Yeah, it's definitely just this specific moment from Alternate Universe. I could have sworn, is there something else from, like, YWDMP or MC Escher where, like, Dave, like, makes a comment about how... I think it actually is... You know what? I very recently reread the AU in MC Escher, the MC Escher AU, where Karkat is getting... Yeah, Karkat's, like, getting braids in his hair or something from Kanaya and Jade. Not Jade. From Kanaya and Nepeta. And obviously... Dave can't communicate with him because the language barrier. But Dave essentially is able to ask Karkat, like, hey, that's kind of gay. Like, what are you doing? And Karkat's like, what? Also, thank you, Crenshaw, for the stretch redemption. Ugh, my goodness. MCEAU. Hold on. I can actually find the MCEAU moment I'm thinking of. It's not really a spoiler because it's like, whatever. Hold on. Yeah, what the fuck is the gay? Gay. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, water too? I will do water. Yeah, this is the document. I have to zoom in so hard because underwrites with like a tiny little thing. Yeah. You don't feel great the next day, but it is nice to see Mom grab Rose and Roxy into a huge shovel, blah, blah, blah. It's a few minutes later when Dave wanders up to where you're sat. You're sat on the floor because Kanaya has instituted a policy of you not walking around unless you really have to. Apparently, you need blood in your think sponge. And Solux reminds you again, blah, 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 blah. What? Dave asks, looking over you. He's holding one hand over his arm all weirdly, yet he's looking at you like you're the weird one. Escape or they'll get you too. You warn him even though he doesn't understand. Dave rambles for a moment. He says an awful lot, but speaks a bit too fast for you to catch even the words you do know. He doesn't talk all that much, like the rest of the humans most of the time. If anything, the relatively flat tone that him, Dirk, and you assume Bro speak is more like Alternian. There's only much emotional tone when he really intends it. But that disdain you just caught at the end of whatever he was saying? Yeah, you heard that. What? You say slowly so he understands the question. Dave says it again. Some human words you pick up on with just context, especially as they usually sit in the same order as they do in Alternian. No one taught you words like mine or his. You just worked out from how they work together, or work with other words. There are also some words that you don't think you know the meaning of exactly, but you kind of know, the kind of word they are. You can identify several insults when you think of as being analogous to stupid because you've heard them use it about themselves, each other, and at the guards. You also caught curse words, and they've picked up on all yours too. Not that Dad approved of that. This word is a little like that. Not a curse as such, but a word you've heard said negatively. You've heard Dirk say it unhappily after Bro looks at him sharply. You've heard John call it to people, and Dave too, but you're not really sure the meaning of it. You do the usual. You repeat it, get corrected, repeat that, and agree that you've said it right. The fuck does gay even mean? Dave gestures to your hair and the girls doing their thing. You try to search for a word that might work in Alternian, some kind of pejorative or negative thing associated with this. It was kind of dumb for you to get caught, but they're your friends, and it's not as if they have anything to put in your hair to make it long-lasting. You're just going to spend a while picking your hair free. That's really going to eat into your busy schedule of doing nothing mixed in with the terror and lightheadedness. You give him a shrug of confusion. You don't know what he means. And then, ooh. Hi, Carcat, Roxy says brightly in Alternian because she has some goddamn manners, unlike Dave, who doesn't even acknowledge that you're here. What? You remind yourself not to use contractions because it's getting confusing. What is gay, you ask? And then everything goes to shit. Everything goes to shit. Oh, it goes so poorly for everybody involved. I love this so much. I can't wait for MC Escher 2! Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for MC Escher 2, for EMC 2. Oh my god. The document. I have binge read this fucking little AU so many times. Oh, so many times. Oh my goodness. Anyways, that was a little bonus. Bonus read. Where are we? Oh, oops. I missed the start. Anything from the start of the chapter? What was at the start of this chapter? Let me open up Photoshop while I'm searching. Anything to read? I forgot about the MCE doc. Have you not read it before, Willa? It's very fun. It's also not complete, so you just have to keep that in mind. But it's like, what? How many words long? 40k words. It's quite delightful. I've read the regular fic, but not the AU. The AU is lovely. And supposedly unda EMC2 is going to be pretty similar to it. We'll do little doodle. I have something in mind. I just realized I'm not really drawing a moment, I'm just drawing June. I just wanted to draw June. I don't know how much I like. I gotta figure out what I like. This hand. By the way, should I rewatch the VOD? You can either rewatch the VOD or you can, just read the chapter or glimpse over the chapter. It'd probably be faster if you just read the bits of the chapter that you missed than watch the VOD. Though if you insist on watching the VOD and love listening to my, my voice, then the VOD will be up, you know, at least on Twitch after the stream is over. I don't have the breath symbol down by memory, so I'm just fucking... my dulcet tones. This is how I imagine. Carcat was on the on the fucking on the tower. He's clinging for his dear life. June's having a great time. Do we have time for another doodle after this one? I don't want to keep you, because I'll redeem some points, but I also don't want to. Yeah, we can do another one. I'm down. Give me another one. Give me an idea. And I'll go for it. I'll probably be drawing after this anyway, so... In fact, I can show you guys the shot that I'm working on. No, I can't. I'm not going to show you guys the shot I'm working on. It's been, like, taken up or whatever. Just ask, and I'll do it. Also, I don't have any ideas, I now realize. That's okay. Maybe I can think of something. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if I can think of anything. We'll fill in this little corner. Ooh. Solux with his hand in Dave's chest. Or, not Dave's. Oh my god. In Karkat's chest. Foreshortening is going to be weird. Hold on. I have to figure out how to make this look good. Oops. Anatomically, it's kind of off, but this is about as good as I'll get with a quickie sketch. Yay, there you go. Doodle page. And by doodle page, I mean there's like 4 doodles on here. That's good enough for me. Does this satisfy the requirements of my chat for the night? I say that jokingly. I very much wanted to draw. Oops. I keep pressing that. Alright. Well, with that, I'm probably gonna head off. I won't save it. I'm just gonna post it in the unda Discord server. But yeah, alright. Thank you guys all for hanging out. Going a little bit later than usual, but that's okay. It was only like 2 hours, so not as late as some of our streams have been. So I hope you all have a lovely, lovely, lovely rest of your night. And yeah, we will be back tomorrow, as always, with chapter 33 of Alternate Universe. We only have 12 chapters left, right? 33 plus 12 is 45. Crazy, holy fuck. No. Yes, that is the number. 33 plus 12, 45. Wow, wild. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a lovely night. Lovely, lovely, lovely night. Bye-bye. We have like a month left. We do. We only have like a month left. Crazy. Though we do have some supplements to get through for Alternate Universe. See you guys. Bye-bye. Good night. Wah-wah.